Welcome to NinonSpeaks. I'm Ninon de Rose, and I'm your host for the next half an hour with my co-host AJ. I have two incredible guests, which are absolutely amazing, but I personally don't introduce the guests because I'm lousy at it. So I let AJ do that because she gets it all down perfect, pat, who they are, what they are, and everything about them. You know why? Because I never pre-interview my guests. But I do have a very, very, very special guest on today. He's a gentleman I've known for many, many years. And you take it away, AJ, and introduce.
My pleasure, Ninon. Thank you so much. We have two wonderful gentlemen today on Ninon Speaks. And it is my great honor to introduce Harvey Stelman, who is a very well-known singer and an author of 6 books. He's written 6 books. Isn't that amazing? And then we also have the wonderful Robert Stephen Hunt. He is from the United Kingdom, England, and he is an English composer. He's a musician, and he's going to play something on the piano for us. Isn't that wonderful, Nina? Welcome, gentlemen.
I didn't know that. That's a surprise for me. Wow.
So welcome, gentlemen. Hello.
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 Hello, how are you?
Great honor to be on.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you on. And Robert, I love your name, Robert Stephen Hunt, but I want to know, what is the Stephen part?
The Stephen actually really is my middle name, which my parents gave to me. And because I come from Welsh background, I know.
I forgive you for that.
Exactly. But my parents gave me the whole name, so.
You know, I should have known that. I should have known you were English, but the reason being because every English person has a middle name, regardless of who they are, what they are. They all have this middle name. So, you know, we always get that. And now to my wonderful friend, Harvey. Harvey, it's such an honor to have you on. It's so great to see you because you are looking amazing. How are you feeling, Harvey?
Well, for my condition of MS, I'm feeling good right now. I'm talking to you.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Harvey has MS. There's a long story behind all this, and it's an incredible story. It's sad in one way, but not sad in the other. It's kind of a double-edged sword here going on. When he was younger, he had the most beautiful voice, and he sang, and I've listened to it many times just to listen to it. And unfortunately, he came down with MS. And because of, you know, with MS, it slowly detects and takes care of your body until, you know, you end up actually in a wheelchair. Over the years, Harvey has kind of handled this in an exceptional way. I've always wondered how he does it and why he does it. How do you get through all this, Harvey?
Well, I believe you've got to use your mind to try to control things. And, well, my mind is evidently a lot stronger than I thought. And yeah. I'm going on because people with MS as long as me, a lot of them aren't around anymore.
No, but instead of walking around and feeling sorry for yourself and all those things that you could actually fall into, you never did that. You've written 6 books, and there's a couple of them I know that they're Emerald something. What are the names of your books?
Okay, Emerald Eyes.
Yeah.
Let's see, I have the list here. The next one was, well, the one I liked the most actually. Yeah. It was fun. I did it with my best friend for 67 years.
Oh my goodness.
And it's growing up in the shadow of Yankee Stadium. And,
growing up in the shadows of Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, because I lived across the street.
Oh, wow. So you wrote a book about it?
Correct.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Hey, Robert, what do you think of that? I mean, there's a guy here. Do you know Harvey at all, Robert?
I don't know, but I think he's a
you
fabulous
do now.
person. Yeah, absolutely, yes. He's really determined as a person, and I know from my past experience, I worked in a daycare centre for physically disabled adults for about 17 years. And I know how determined you've got to be in order to succeed in what you want to create and what you want to do. So I really admire Harvey. I think he's brilliant.
It's amazing that he's got through all this, and then he writes this book about the stadium. In other words, he created something that was there that probably nobody else would have really actually noticed, but because he's in the wheelchair and because he's sort of, in the house most of the time, I would imagine, that he created this book. And is that what you did, Harvey?
Well, yeah, I mean, I started with Eyes of Emerald, which
Yes.
it's based on a story my father told me about a cousin of ours coming to the family came to the US, and she was the first one to even graduate high school. And well, what ended up happening to her is an amazing story. I'm not going to give it away.
So I'm going to tell everybody to go and buy it. Where can they buy it, Harvey?
Well, you go to Amazon.com and you put in my name, HarveyStelman, and you put that in the books, and it'll take you to all the books I've written. And if you want to see any of them individually, you click on the name of the book, and it'll take you to a page just dedicated to that book.
Wonderful. Robert, I haven't got into what do you do? You've got a piano next to you and you're going to play something. So I assume, that you're in the music business.
Well, I used to be a teacher and I was in the care industry as well, but I love being creative. I think I've been creative since I was a teenager, to be honest. I love creating beautiful music, piano music, and I've also released 2 albums which were recorded in the studio, which have piano music with orchestral backing as well. One called Eagle Mountain and the other one called Edge of Time. And they've got worldwide distribution on the internet through the digital processing, obviously. And also I've got CD copies as well.
So you're actually in the entertainment business. Do you write your own music and do you write music for other bands?
I write my own music for my own use, really. I have written for a TV series pilot called Unbelievers, which is actually on the internet. It's on YouTube under Sheep Free Productions, and it's under Unbelievers, the pilot mini-series. So I wrote the opening music for that and some incidental music as well. So I just love being creative.
Yeah, have you always been this popular? When did you start this? Because you said you worked in a disability home for 17 years. So where did you fit all this in? Your spare time?
Very good question. I really started, I suppose, sharing my music with the world from about 2010. And it really came about because I was also involved in a children's theatre group. And that's where I learned to do a lot of my improvisation for music and also creating and composing music. And a lot of the parents said, Robert, you've got to do something about this music. It's really, really good. Don't waste it. So, yeah, the rest is history because I tried to put music out on the internet via various music websites, And I did it really for 6 months just to see whether there was any reaction to it.
You were testing the waters. You were testing the waters, my dear.
Definitely, yes. and it proved to be a really good exercise. So some fabulous comments came in. And really, that's when I decided to record the first album, Eagle Mountain. And then most recently, just before the pandemic started, I released my second album, which was Edge of Time.
I love the names you have for your music. It's absolutely amazing. Harvey, you're listening to all this, and you were in the music business at your young age. Does it sort of kind of vibe on your nervous system? Because, you know, this is what you were doing.
Well, I mean, it could, but I wouldn't let it.
Good for you.
I mean, the last time I sang was at one of my friends' weddings. They asked me to, and since I was the best man, I couldn't say no. So I sang there, and after I was finished, the band leader asked me if I'd sing with the band, and 7 people came up to me. 4 wanted me to play at their wedding. This was in Hollywood.
Yes.
And 3 asked if they could represent me and book me in clubs. But I had to say no for 2 reasons. I was starting to deteriorate my walking, and I had to come home to Chicago for my anniversary.
Yeah.
Can I ask how was it fun to play basketball with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Harvey, can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, it was fun because in particular, white guys weren't invited to Harlem to play in these games. And I got invited, which was a shock. And I got into a game, and he was called Lou Alcindor in those days. And I knew who he was because I mean he was still a high school senior, and he lived in a building of a cousin of mine, and she basically told me who he was. And my cousin it was a funny story. I told my mother that I finally got my first date. Okay, and she said who, and she's gonna know everybody in Manhattan. And I gave her the name, and she said, are her parents' names so and so and so and so? And I said, yeah. And he said, she's your cousin. So the first person I was gonna go out with was my cousin, and we had to.
That was the end of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a funny story. That really is. Go ahead.
No, I mean that was really strange, and just getting into a game with Lou Alcindor. I know I went up for a layup one time, and this 7-foot guy, I was 5'10". An arm came like out of the heavens and just blocked my shot, and I had no idea he was anywhere near, that close to me that he could do that.
Yeah.
But his arms were so long.
He's got these great big long arms. That's amazing. You've got some fabulous stories. I'm going to let Harvey, can you just, not Harvey, sorry. Robert, can you play a little bit for us now? And then I'm going to go back to Harvey, because Harvey's got a new book out I'm quite fascinated about, actually. So let's listen to the, let's tinkle, tinkle here.
Will do. Right. Okay. It's a brand new piece of music.
There we go.
Which I'm hoping to record next week in the recording studio. So it's called Lament at the moment. That's Lament. The title. Yeah.
I like that. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. And you know what was going through my mind? What was going through my mind is this is like a theme for a movie. And this was like a very, very romantic song where this girl is sort of, she's got a hat in her hand and she's got this dress and she's running through the fields and she's got, and this guy is like chasing after her and they're just having fun. It was like a very romantic scene. Wasn't that incredible? That was absolutely beautiful, Robert.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Nina. I mean, it's amazing that very often when you play a piece of music, I might have one idea in my mind, but those people listening to the music may have something completely different. And that's all part of the
yeah, that's what I probably have something completely different to what you're feeling, but it's kind of that very romantic, innocent sort of feeling and everything. Yeah. But Robert, you and Harvey have something very much in common. And what you have in common is you have great names for your songs, and Harvey, you have great names for your books. So the two of you have this kind of, and you don't even know each other, but you still have the same avenue of creation. How do you do that? Harvey, how do you do that?
Well, creativity is creativity. Doesn't matter where you're from. Robert and I, we don't know each other except for a quick chat with AJ, and that's it. But if you like something and you think it's worth writing about or singing about or writing a song, that's all you need, and you go.
Absolutely. And it's funny because there's so many talented people in the world, and yet so many talented people don't put pen to paper or don't put hands to pianos or don't create their feeling inside of what they want. And Robert, you've done that. You completely went from one thing to another thing to totally different, but it was your passion.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's kind of like almost born within my DNA, I think, really, that creativity is there. And obviously you've got to develop it. And maybe sometimes, like with Harvey, it's taking him a long time to write those books because there's a lot of emotion perhaps in some of them, exactly the same with the music. And it takes sometimes a lifetime to get to that stage because you've got all those experiences and they kind of flow through that creativity itself. I mean, I feel sometimes the hardest part of actually composing the music is trying to think up a title. That's for me, the hardest bit. Improvising, I've developed as a skill. because I'm largely a self-taught musician as well. So, but yeah, thinking up those titles, that takes concentration and a lot of effort.
Yeah, and let's go over to Harvey. And Harvey, you've had all these big problems and everything else, but you have not created them as a problem. You have continued your life, and you have said, "Well, I can't do this. I'm going to do this." So you're kind of still in the creative business. But I really want to have the name of this new book you've got out. But I don't know if it'll be. Is it okay to say the name of the book, AJ?
Well, is it okay, Harvey? We need to ask Harvey if it's okay to.
Can we bring the book out?
Do you have the
What's
book
the
there?
book? What's the
Harvey?
name of the new book?
Which book are you talking about?
Your new one.
Well, none of them are actually new, but the most fun I had was combining writing, growing up in the shadow of Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Because I wrote it with my best friend of 67 years.
Yeah.
And we talked about the neighborhood and being able to go up in the building on the roof and watch football games and baseball games. I mean, it was like no other place. Anyone I've talked to, nobody had a neighborhood like this.
No.
Within 4 blocks, we had about 30 guys within a couple of years of each other.
Yeah.
So we had enough to play a lot of sports, and that's what we concentrated on.
Do you have in your area a lot of the young men that you went to school with? Are there a lot of them still living sort of in the area?
Well, we all moved. I mean, the Bronx has changed a lot.
Oh, no.
And being Jewish, we wouldn't be accepted in that neighborhood, so we're all over the country. But at the same time, a bunch of us still have a Zoom meeting every other week.
Yeah.
You know, so that's an amazing
So
thing.
that is, so you're able to keep in touch with all the people you grew up. So all those younger days you can sort of talk about and reminisce and all the whole thing and write your books.
Well, I can't write anymore because the only thing I have that moves is my right arm and hand, and my fingers are starting to curl up, and so I can't really write much. And,
but Harvey, we have the internet, and you can now talk into it, so you can still talk. There's still a lot of things you can do, and knowing your tenacity, that's exactly what you're going to do.
Well, for the most part, it's working now, but I'm losing my voice, and that makes everything tough.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a talker.
Yeah.
For the recycling industry, I spoke at national and international meetings, and but things like that are all gone because without the extra voice with this, you wouldn't be able to hear me.
No, absolutely not. But I'm glad I've got you now. I've got my Harvey. Yeah, my Harvey hair. I love my Harvey. And by the way, Harvey does have a wife. I've never met his wife, but he speaks very dearly and very highly of his wife. And you've had your wife for many years, haven't you, Harvey?
Well, 44 and a half is a decent amount.
Talk about somebody sticking by you, and isn't that amazing, Robert? And you've
absolutely.
You've seen these situations in where you work and what happens. And what do you think about Harvey and how he is and how he's conducting his life and everything? Because you kind of know this a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's incredible. As you said, he's got great tenacity, great drive and strength. And I'm sure in some way that Harvey will find a way forward, maybe
He
to
will.
still be creative.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah,
creative.
I came across a lot of hardship and really in the day centre where I worked,
Yeah,
a lot of it was trying to motivate people and give them a reason to get up in the morning and just a reason to be alive, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can really sort of empathize with him.
Absolutely. You know, if we are alive, we have a purpose on the planet. And that's what I love about Harvey. And I love about you, Robert, is you have that artistic nature in you that wants to continue and help each other and help others with your creativity, no matter what. And Ninon, so I want to thank you so much for today. Ninon, I'm sorry we have to start wrapping it up.
Okay. Now, Harvey, where can everybody get your books? They can get them from Amazon?
Amazon.com, and you go to books and just write in my name.
Okay. And we'll make sure, AJ will make sure that your name is put on the bottom there somewhere. We'll make sure they've got your name where they can reach your books. And Robert, well, how about you? How can people reach this incredible composer?
Well, I'm on all kind of social media to begin with. All of the music is out there on the digital platforms. So the usual things like Spotify, Amazon Music, and also Apple Music as well, Google Play.
Okay.
So really basically use any of the search engines and search for Robert Stephen Hunt. But remember to spell the Stephen with the V, because that with the V.
Absolutely.
Well, so yes, I said I love sharing my music worldwide. So the more people that join in, I have to say that most of my listeners at the moment are actually in the US. So I'm thrilled with that anyway.
Oh, we love music here. We absolutely.
Yes.
I might be English. I'm actually from Torquay, Robert, but we won't hold that against me. I'm down there in that little place down there. I want to thank everybody out there. And of course, this has been a show that I've been anticipating a long time. And obviously because of Robert, but also because of Harvey. Harvey is always very dear in my heart. Whoops, hang in. I just have always reached out to this man. And I also must say to his wife that this must be an amazing woman that has just taken care of Harvey for 44 odd years. That's just amazing. But Harvey, you look so well. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, you're looking great. So let's just give all our little angels all around you and everybody around you, and to keep you well and to keep you doing what you're doing, writing. I also want to thank AJ. AJ is AJ is my producer, my co-host, and she puts all this together. But then without all our audience out there, we would not have a show. So thank you everybody out there for joining in and taking part. And of course, as you all probably know, because I keep blabbering it out there, that we are on Roku. Now, apparently Roku is absolutely it's out there, so it's really cool. So I'm really, really happy about that. And it's all because of Jeff Dean. Jeff Dean is our engineer and he does everything, director. And of course, that's AJ's husband. I'll take it over to you. AJ, what would you like to say?
Oh, just thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege to work with you, Ninon. You are a blessing. And also our fine gentleman today. It's just a lovely show. We're so happy with it. And we hope you had a great time. Thank you. And until next time.
Yep. Thank you for inviting me.
One last word, Harvey. One last word for you.
Thank you, Robert.
Great.
No, it's been a pleasure talking to everybody, and Ninon, it's been great. I haven't spoken to you or seen you in a long time.
So here it is. See, we're just the same. We're still here, Harvey. I love you. Take care, everybody out there.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.